Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Benjamin's Garage. This is a YouTube Rust base tour of my base on Rust right now. This is a live base on a real Rust server. It's a vanilla server. One caveat is it is a solo server, but it's a vanilla server. There's no gimmicks, there's no kits, no skin box or any mods or anything like that. And this is my base. I know that if y'all have seen some of my other base builds on YouTube, you know that I have a thing for unconventional kind of RP-ish base designs, and this one's no different. It's this base is it's obviously themed after a garage. It has two vehicle lifts right on the inside. I leave the base open all the time so people can come in and look around as they please. There's a turret on Peacekeeper mode to make sure no one decides to go rogue while inside here. One thing I did have to do, this was kind of sad but kind of funny at the same time, is people kept stealing my cars, and I tried to think of a solution that would allow me to leave the base open at the same time, and I never could think of one until I thought about, well, why not just kill the power to the vehicle lifts? Because the thing is, if the cars have locks on them, but someone has access to a lift, they can just remove the lock. But if the lift isn't powered while they're in here, then they can't remove the lock. So I installed a heartbeat sensor here, and it's connected to a blocker here. So whenever people come into the base, it recognizes them through the heartbeat sensor, and it kills power to the lift, so they can't remove the lock, so they can't steal my damn cars. So that was one way I got around that. Let's take a look at the rest of the outside of the base. This is my brother's cat Sebastian. It's a memorial for him. I used Rust Angelo to paint this picture. It took about 3 hours, well, 3 or 4 hours. I think it turned out really well. I also used Rust Angelo to do the most of the garage sign here. And it only took about an hour for that one. You can see I use a lot of the electric heaters as light sources. I just think they look cool. I think they look cool and add a visual flair that you don't see in a lot of Rust bases. I have a lot of external auto turrets, and those aren't really for raid defense. They're more of defense against people who are trying to mess with me as I build, or mess with me as I'm coming in from a farming trip. And that's why I keep them on Peacekeeper. I want people to be able to come around and look at my base if they want to, but it won't shoot them unless they shoot first. So I'm a huge fan of Peacekeeper auto turrets, and I think that most people should have them on Peacekeeper mode with the green laser like that, unless they think they're going to get raided. Red turrets usually just piss people off and make them want to raid you. I have a shop set up here where I sell stuff that players are often looking for, you know, guns, med pens, things like that. This shop has made me a ton of high quality. This wipe has probably made me, if I had to guess, I'd say 800 to 1,000 high quality this wipe, so it's done very well. Here's where I keep my horses. I have pictures of the horses, my white and black thoroughbreds. The black one, he just wouldn't look at the camera, whatever, being emo or whatever. The white one loves the camera, as you can see. And here they are. One interesting thing I had to do, so I kept getting my horses glitched into the ramp here. This ramp absolutely kills me, the new ramps that they added in Rust a few months ago. The middle of the ramp is really easy to get your horses glitched into, and it takes about 10 to 20 minutes to get them out of it. And it was just aggravating the heck out of me because I couldn't get my horses in and out without falling into that middle thing. So I just put a bunch of small boxes there, and now it kind of guides the horses up the ramp, and it gets around that really, really annoying problem. A lot of my bases in Rust are designed around post-apocalyptic junkyards. It's just how I think the world would look if something like the Rust lore really happened. So people ask, what happened to your base? And I'm like, well, nothing happened. It just kind of organically evolved into this junkyard look. I'd like to think that that's how people would live if it ever came to a situation like Rust. Another auto turret here. I have a searchlight, which those things go really far. I've always liked those things, but I was never able to use them because they use so much low grade. But now that they're electric, you can use them and not have to worry about it. You can see it lights up my neighbor Cringy's base 100%. Lights up the supermarket if I need it to. I usually just leave it aimed up at the windmill just because it looks cool. Yes, there's a lot of things on this base that are done just because it looks cool. The oil refineries back here. Nothing special about this. I will show you my furnace base. It's using Odawa's design using the triangle roof exploit, which I think is just fantastic. You can see it's a large furnace base, but it's fully enclosed. You don't have to use floor grills or anything like that, and it gives you so much room on the inside of it. It's also stronger than having just a single layer of floor grills. I have another shop attached to the side of this, where people can come and buy electrical stuff. I have vehicle lifts in the yard. Some of them are powered, some of them are not. I'll run power to them if I need to. More auto turrets to protect me and my valued customers. This is the back side of my base. Notice that all my auto turrets are hidden behind chain link fences and prison cell gates. That's absolutely intentional. Most of the time players can't melee or shoot in and hit the auto turrets and therefore steal the guns from them, but the auto turrets can shoot back out of them without hitting the fence. So it's a really easy way to protect your auto turrets from people who are, you know, compound bowing them from really far away while enabling the turret to still hit them if they need to. Have my windmills set up. I have 3 windmills. I really need more. Wait until you see the roof. This base consumes a tremendous amount of power. Another little shop over here. I like leaving workbenches, research benches, repair benches, barbecues, things like this outside near where my shoppers are coming in so that they can research, come here, buy here, research here if they need to in the relative safety of Peacekeeper turrets. A lot of shops are, they offer really valuable things in Rust, but you're gonna, half the time you get murdered on the way there or lose all your hard-earned scrap or the thing that you just bought trying to get back to your base to research it. So I'll offer that service to my clients here. The wind turbines, they're up really high. That's intentional. If you're new to the Rust electric scene, the higher the wind turbine is off the ground, the more power it generates and the more stable its power generation. I use this car lift as I use it to get parts off of cars. So if I see a car that has a part that I want, like an armored module or something, I'll bring it over here, put it on the car lift, strip all the parts off of it, and onto the next one. And I like to leave the chassis here until I need to remove it just for the junkyard look. Sounds like the helicopter's coming, so it's a good time as any to go ahead and make our way inside. Actually, I want to show you the roof real quick before the helicopter gets here. I know what you're thinking. Does anyone really need this many solar panels? The answer is yes. Yes, I need this many solar panels. Like I said, this base uses a absolutely tremendous amount of power, and I need all of these. I am using the same thing as downstairs. You can see there's a heartbeat sensor there. It measures whether there's players in the vicinity. If there's any players up here, it disables the car lift so people can't drive the cars off the roof. It took me about an hour and a half to get these cars on the roof, so I don't feel like doing that again. Yes, I drove them off the top of the base like 4 times each. If anyone's wondering how I got them up here, I built scaffolding, a twig ramp with scaffolding. It went all the way out to about that junk pile over there, and I drove the cars up here. So this is the inside of my base, and again, I do leave the doors open most of the time so players can come in and look around if they'd like. The floor/roof is armored here. I have a little area for, it's a drop box area with 4 large boxes. The admins were kind enough to give us chippy machines and the new Rust chair as a gift for playing on the server, which is really cool. And let's go upstairs. This is going to be the main living areas up through that ladder hatch right there. Before we go up there, actually, let me show you, there's some auxiliary storage here, some more drop boxes for unimportant loot. This is the corridor that leads to the main living area. It's protected by an auto turret, flame turret, some shotgun traps. And this is the main loot area. It's surrounded primarily by armored all the way around. You can see I don't use ceiling lights up here. I don't like how the ceiling lights clip through stories into the bottom floor and give that weird light glitch effect. I think I may have complained about it in other videos. It really bothers me when they clip because the light starts flickering and it sometimes makes me nauseated. I've got 2 large batteries here. There's also a large battery in this behind that window right there. This is my bed where I respawn. There's some 4 more large boxes behind this wall here. You see how the wooden shutters kind of obscure what's behind there? I found that to be really effective, especially whenever you have a base that uses a whole bunch of reinforced glass windows. If you use the wooden shutters and then you combine it with like an embrasure, or depending on the layout of your base, you can have a bunch of these where it's kind of hard. You don't have a good vantage point to view through the wooden shutter. It keeps people guessing as to what's actually back there. So you make people waste explosives whenever they raid you just to find out what's in there. They don't even know what's in there. It may be nothing. Got some furnaces here. An auto turret for protection, and the main loot area. And I know that y'all have probably seen some of my other videos where there's always a gimmick or a secret strong spot for the base that I'm building, where it's never going to be a base as simple as, well, if I get into this area and I kill the auto turrets, I get all the loot. Here's all the loot, and I get all of it because I raided the base. This base is no different. That's not all there is to it. So this box here is just a decoy. Whenever you pick it up, it exposes a large box that's clipped through the wall here. And this box is clipped into the wall, goes into a suicide bunker that's only accessible by suiciding and respawning in where the sleeping bag is. I'll show you what that looks like right now. So I press F1 and type kill. I respawn inside the secret loot room. And you can see I'm actually using the triangle spiral staircase to clip the box through the wall. I actually discovered that trick right before this wipe started and was able to incorporate it into a 3x2 base design. And so I transfer all the items that I want to protect through this box, and then put all of the goods in here. These 4 boxes are where all my good stuff lies. So if someone were to raid the base, you know, it's protected on this side by armored wall. On the opposite side of this room are the main loot rooms. And once people blow in through the garage doors, they're just gonna say, okay, I've got the main loot, and you know, I'll leave 10% of my loot out there. There's no reason for them to continue rocketing or C4ing past the loot rooms. There's also, on the other side of this, is fully honeycombed all the way around. So it's protected on all sides, including the top and bottom, from, you know, multiple layers of rockets and heaven forbid if someone were to try to raid with satchel charges. But there's you know, there's no reason for anyone to come exploring back here. So I transfer my items from this box into there, and then I'm done. I like having the respawn points all around the base just in TC range. As long as the sleeping bag isn't outside of TC range, it won't decay. So I put this sleeping bag here, it's right on the edge of the TC radius, and that way I can respawn back and run back in case I need to, you know, respawn over and over again. I haven't did a lot of farming this way. I used to be real big on farming. A few wipes back, I think it was 3 wipes ago, I had a farm that produced me let's see, what was it? I believe it was 250,000 scrap in one wipe on vanilla. It was just absolutely insane how good farming was back whenever it was first introduced. They've nerfed it in many possible ways since then, but now I'm just finding that with the nerf to the ratio of trading cloth into the bandit camp, and especially with the new delay that they put, the cooldown on trade-ins to NPCs, I just don't feel like it's worth it anymore. I can just go into the snow biome with a horse and farm up an inventory full of metal and sulfur very, very quickly, you know, within 15 or 20 minutes with a jackhammer, and ride the horse back, usually a thoroughbred, do it at night if I have to, and I don't have to worry about setting up the farm, getting all those blueprints, and farming is super duper tedious anyway, so I'm kind of glad that I don't have to worry about, you know, min-maxing and making scrap and metal frags in the most efficient way possible using that. One thing that I have done this wipe is I've started using the teas a whole lot, and especially the wood tea. So what I do is I purchase a wood tea from another player, or I slowly get the berries from the field over there and the trees and make it myself. And then I get one of the really good wood teas, and I take this truck. I take the armored thing off of it, and I just put a cockpit with vehicle, a cockpit with engine module on it. Have 3 storage bins, and then I take the truck over there with a chainsaw and that tea, and I farm up wood. And with my latest adventure out doing that, I was able to farm, sit down if you're not sitting down, 300,000 wood in 30 minutes. So if you're not in the tea game, you need to be. It's how you get wood now that they've nerfed the outpost trade-in. By the way, I've extended this video a little bit because I really like how my base looks at dawn and dusk, and you can see it, the lighting really comes to life here, and it makes the whole base look really cool. Some of the little details in the base, I try to tell a story, and people ask me how I build bases like this all the time, and really it's, you know, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? It's kind of the same way with building a base like this. You know, I started off with, I knew I wanted a garage, I knew I wanted 2 vehicle lifts in it with a middle entryway, and I wanted it to be a 3x2, and I wanted to have that secret loot room in the back. All the other stuff that you see on this base is absolutely just randomly thrown together after that. You know, sometimes I'll think, well, what would someone with a garage have? Well, they would have car batteries laying around. You know, what might they have? They might have electrical components and things like that laying around. And I know that sounds super duper RP-ish, but you know what? I like the look of it. I like living in Rust bases that look cool and make me feel happy whenever I see them. I don't like those stone bases that are perfectly symmetrical and have no variance in them, and just aren't very interesting to live in. These are my kind of bases right here. Okay, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this base tour, and I hope you're entertained, and if not entertained, perhaps you learned something useful about how I design my bases. Thanks everybody, this is Benjamin, and I just really appreciate it.